Hello everyone, welcome to the IHI Call Days, Call 5, Topic 3, Improved Prediction, Detection and Treatment Approaches for Comprehensive Stroke Management. My name is Sara and today I will be moderating this webinar. Before we start, a couple of points. All information regarding future IHI call topics is indicative and subject to change. Final information about future IHI calls will be communicated after approval by the IHI Governing Board. Also, be reminded that this session is being recorded and both the recording and the presentation slides will be published on the IHI website and on the B2Match platform. If during this session you want to ask some questions, please join the conversation with the join the discussion button on the bottom right corner of your screen, and they will be answered at the end of this presentation. Today, I am accompanied by my colleague Clelia, Scientific Project Officer at IHI, that will guide you through the webinar topic. Clelia, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Sara. Welcome from my side as well. So in today's webinar, we will cover an introduction to the IHI program. We will talk about in specific the topic 3, the challenge that is called to address the need for public-private collaborative research in this topic, the scope of the topic, as well as the outcomes and impacts. I will also give you some tips on the proposal preparation, and this info session will be followed by participant pitches. What is not covered by this webinar today is the rules and procedures and the financial part preparation of the proposals. There are dedicated webinars for these two. The one took place on Monday and is now available on our website, as well as the slides, the presentation slides. And the other one will take place tomorrow, so you still have time to register and follow it. So what is the Innovative Health Initiative? It is a public-private partnership between the European Union, represented by the European Commission, from one side, and on the other side, we have the healthcare industry associations. These are specifically the COSIR, the association that represents the medical imaging, radiotherapy, health ICT, and electromedical industries. We have FPIA, which includes the Vaccines Europe, and they represent the pharmaceutical and vaccine industries. We have Europa Bio, that represents the biotechnology industry in Europe, and MedTech Europe, that represent the medical technology industries. So what are the general objectives of IHI? IHI aims through cross-sectoral partnerships active at the pre-competitive area to achieve the following 3 aims: turn health research and innovation into real benefits for patients and society, to also deliver safe, effective health innovations that cover the entire spectrum of care, and particularly in areas that there is an unmet public health need, and thirdly, to make Europe's health industries competitive at a global level. So the funding model in IHI is the following. As a public-private partnership, all projects at IHI are funded by EU cash contributions that are financing the universities, the research organizations, or patient organizations, and small, medium-sized enterprises that are partners in a given consortium. And then on the other side, we have the IHI Industry Association members and possibly contributing partners that provide the 45% of the total budget of a given project. So how IHI works? IHI has 2-stage and single-stage procedures. This topic it will be launched under a single-stage procedure. In a single-stage procedures, usually we have broad topics, and it can be that we have more than one project funded. So at co-launch, which is expected to be approximately at the end of July, the official text of the topic will be published. So interested applicants are called to form consortia, public-private partnerships, and write up a proposal that will address the objectives of the specific topic. these consortia that will be built and write up the proposal should have a public and a private side. So they can have private companies or contributing partners providing in-kind contributions. And on the other side, you can have academics, SMEs, healthcare professionals, patient organizations, but also include regulators and health technology assessment bodies. So this consortia will write a proposal that will submit it, and then the IHI office organizes a competitive evaluation. An independent panel of experts will assess these proposals, and those that pass the threshold will be ranked. The highest ranked proposals that fall within the budget of the topic will be called to prepare the grant and sign a grant agreement. Upon the signature of this grant agreement, the project is launched. So now let's look at this specific topic, which is improved prediction, detection, and treatment approaches for comprehensive stroke management. The challenge that is aimed to be addressed by this topic is the following. Stroke is a very important health issue. At the global level, stroke is the second leading cause of death and the third leading cause of disability. And the rapid and personalized care for stroke patients is very critical. It can make a substantial difference between life and death or full recovery for these patients to permanent disability. And while we have effective treatment approaches, there is a lack of efficient and comprehensive pathways along the whole continuum of the disease. So we think that better communication, sharing, and integration of data along the whole stroke care pathway can lead to a comprehensive pathway for stroke care, which has the potential to be a game changer for stroke patients, and not only the stroke patients, but also the healthcare professionals, as well as the payers. To address this complicated challenge, we believe there is a need for a cross-sectorial public-private partnership, where we have contributions from different stakeholders, healthcare professionals, health data specialists, possibly patients and their care network, academics, as well as the industry, and possibly different industry sectors. For example, medical technology industries that are focusing on connected care and medical devices, and or pharma industries that provide pharmaceutical interventions for stroke, but also regulators. So such consortia have the possibility to break the silos that currently exist in healthcare, for example, between primary care and hospital care, or care after hospital release. And this consortia can bring the necessary and diverse expertise which is necessary to address the challenge that I just described, but also have the possibility to combine different types of resources. For example, different data to different kinds of access to different kinds of data, or different expertise in researchers or infrastructure. So these are all becoming possible in such cross-sectorial collaborative public-private partnerships. Let's look now at the scope of the topic, what this topic aim is. So overall, the aim of the topic is to eventually deliver an efficient and comprehensive stroke management pathway focused on the needs of patients. And to achieve this overall aim, there are specific aims that the applicants of this call should address. First, the applicants are called to develop approaches to integrate health data along the whole stroke care pathway. And they can first focus on patients at high risk, and maybe that example then can be extrapolated to other patient groups. Secondly, they're called to develop next generation systems that promote interoperability of the data, that can provide better access to data, and support better clinical decision making in this way. Thirdly, they're asked to develop innovative tools, AI-based tools that can give appropriate risk stratification, lead to timely prediction of stroke and stroke recurrence, and to faster diagnosis and treatment. Based on these tools that can be developed, the applicants are also called to propose innovative approaches in order to improve the diagnostic and treatment decisions, and then streamline operations along the continuum of the disease and guide the patients through this pathway. Then to improve the implementation and try to scale up the treatment in Europe. Also to enhance precision of care delivery and eventually improve the strong patients' experience in this pathway and their quality of life. So by delivering results, the applicants are expected to lead to the following outcomes. So we expect that patients will benefit by early and rapid diagnosis of stroke, more integrated and precise interventions and treatment strategies that have the patients in the center. We also expect that healthcare professionals will benefit from this better access to integrated patients' health data and from a more efficient coordination among the different stages of care, within these stages of care, and among the different clinical specialties that are involved. Thirdly, we expect that healthcare systems will benefit from this effective organization of stroke and the personalization of care delivery. And finally, researchers in this field will benefit from the new innovative modeling-based tools that will be developed and by more patient-centered definition of the clinical outcomes after stroke. The expected impact that the projects funded under this topic can bring are the following. We expect to see accelerated access to healthcare system and a holistic management of stroke that will lead to better health outcomes. We also expect to see integrated advanced solutions for the prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of stroke that facilitate clinical decision-making. We also expect that the better implementation and scaling up of existing effective treatment can be ensured for a wide coverage in Europe, whereby right treatment options are offered to patients at the right time. And finally, the projects funded under this topic are expected to contribute to the goals of the European health data space. So let's look at another important aspect of the proposals, the dissemination, exploitation, and communication plan. A possible IHI project should not be just seen as a research project, but as a catalyst in the field. And you should give emphasis on impact and how the end users need to take up your results to achieve this impact. So in your proposal, you have to reserve a budget for effective dissemination, exploitation, and communication, and also describe these dissemination, exploitation, and communication measures. What are the target groups that will be addressed? And in particular, encourage the uptake of results of the project through a strong communication and outreach plan. Also, you need to think and allocate appropriate resources for exploring synergies with other relative initiatives and projects, for example, other initiatives and projects that contribute to the European health data space. And if in the call conditions that will be published at call launch, there is this availability, accessibility, and affordability provisions included, you need in your dissemination and exploitation plan to address this appropriately. Now let's look at the budget. So for a project that will be funded under this topic, an estimation of the IHI office is that the financial contribution needed from IHI will be approximately 10 to 13 million euros. This contribution will have to be matched by 10 to 13 million euros coming from the private partners, the industry, or potentially contributing partners that are included in your consortium. And that will add up to a 20 to 26 million euros of total budget for your project, which means that your project can have 20 to 26 million euros total eligible costs. So this example is based on a 50-50% funding model, but you need to know that the projects should have a minimum of 45% of the project budget covered by contributions from project participants. The 50-50% model is what we recommend, but it's not the minimum required. So for this call, for the IHI financial contribution, the total budget available is 40 million euros. I'm sorry, correction, not for this call, for this specific topic, the total budget available for IHI financial contribution is 40 million euros, which means that it's probably enough to fund more than one project. But the number of projects that will be funded is depending on the budget requested, the IHI financial contribution requested by the highest ranked proposals from the evaluation. Here I have a simplified example of a budget where you have in the first column the type of participant and then the requested IHI funding and the in-kind contributions. So as you see, the public partners, universities, hospitals, SMEs are financed by the IHI contribution. So if this is 12 million, then the industry associations and potential contributing partners should provide another 12 million euros in-kind contribution. And that adds up to 24 million total eligible costs. For more details on this financial part of the proposal, as I said, there is a webinar tomorrow that you can follow and ask any questions that you may have. Let's move now into the proposal submission and evaluation. So if you're thinking of putting together a proposal, you need to download these templates and read them well. There are different parts of the proposal. The first part, part A, is a web form in the submission environment and includes the administrative and the researcher data. Then we have the part B, which is the narrative part of the proposal and includes three sections. A section on excellence, a section on impact, and a section on quality and efficiency of the implementation. These sections correspond to the three evaluation criteria that are applied in the IHI evaluation and according to which the independent panel of experts will be called to assess your proposal. So read the instructions well in the proposal template to address well these criteria and maximize the chances of your proposal being positively evaluated. We also have some annexes that you need to fill. The first annex has it's about the types of the participants in the consortium. The second is the details of the budget. The third annex is a declaration by the coordinator. Fourthly, there is an annex related to the in-kind contribution to additional activities. This annex, you need to fill it in if relevant, if your proposal includes in-kind contribution to additional activities. And finally, we have the clinical studies template, which is compulsory. So if your proposal foresees clinical studies, you need to fill in this template and upload it. However, if you don't foresee any clinical studies, then in this section, you need to upload a statement confirming exactly this, that there are no clinical studies foreseen in your proposal. So as I said, the evaluation criteria that are applied in IHI are the three criteria that follow also the sections of your proposal. So it is excellence, impact, and quality and efficiency of the implementation. Each of those, as you can see below with gray letters, has sub-criteria. So it is important that you read well which are these sub-criteria and sub-criteria and try to address them in your written proposal, in your part B. So let's now move to some tips for potential applicants. So first and foremost, the best tip that we can give is that you read all the call relevant material, and especially the topic text, because in your proposal, you'll have to address all the different aspects of the topic text sufficiently. Then another very useful tip is to watch our rules and procedures and prepare the financial part webinars. Also, the most important point is to form a consortium, because without a consortium, there is no proposal. So you need to start early to think about the partners that you can bring in. And you always need to have in mind that the model in IHI is public-private partnership. And you need to have the necessary partners that will bring the in-kind contributions that you need in your proposal. Then you also need to ensure that all the information requested in the call text and the proposal template is included in your proposal, and it's easy for the independent experts, the evaluators, to find it. That maximizes, again, your chances of being positively evaluated. And finally, it is also important in your proposal to consider the regulatory impact of your results and plan of how you can address this. To summarize, the key points for preparing a successful proposal is to read the call text very carefully, follow the guidance in the proposed templates, and reserve dedicated funding for communication, dissemination, exploitation, and also have a sustainability plan for your results. And secondly is to find consortium partners. So as said, you need to start working on this early. That's why we publish our topic text before even the call launch, to allow you more time. So don't lose time and start working now on that. We, from our side, try to help you in this process of finding project partners. So during these IHI Call Days, there is this B2Match platform that my colleague Sarah will explain, give you more details in a minute, which can allow you to find partners. But also after this info session, we have a session with picture talks, which also is very useful. Other resources for finding project partners are the partner search tool of the EU Funding and Tenders portal, and you can find the link here. Or you can ask help from your IHI national contact points. The list and their contact details can be found in this link. And finally, use the social media for networking. So now I'll pass the floor to my colleague, Sarah. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Clelia, for your interesting presentation. And as Clelia was mentioning, we are giving you the possibility to find partners through the platform, through the B2Match platform. So please make the most of the participation to this calls. You can actually book your meetings through the platform in 4 easy steps. You should make yourself available. So please. Go to your profile and check if you made yourself available, and then you can look for partners on the participants or the organization tab. Select the date, time, and attendees, up to 8 per meeting, and add messages. So then you can send meeting requests and wait for the reply. And before opening the floor to questions, let me remind you that after the question time, we will have the picture session. So if you want to stay with us and listen to some interesting project ideas, please be sure to stay online. So if you have some questions, you can type them in the chat box, and I will read them for Clelia. I hope no one. So we have a first question from Jetty. How are contributing partners defined? Can this also be academia? I think for this we can ask our colleague from the legal team, Carolina, to reply.
Yes. Hi, hello everyone. Carolina Gutmostova, legal officer at IHI. Happy to reply this question. Contributing partners are entities who are, first of all, not affiliated to our private members. So they need to be, there is this obligation that there must be no affiliation to FPA, COSIR, and our other private members. So there are entities who are independent from our private members, and they may be all kinds of entities. There is no restriction in terms of where they are based, but it's very important to remember that the contributing partners offer strategic alliance with IHI. So their participation in the projects need to be aligned with the strategic objectives of IHI and the particular call as well, and the particular topic. Yes. Therefore, indeed, we have some examples in the previous calls where there are NGOs, big foundations, academic institutions that apply to become contributing partners. And here in this call, obviously, if you're interested to become a contributing partner, you should have a look at what is the call regarding the exact description and how your organization can strategically contribute to that objective that we want to achieve in this call. There is a lot of interesting and quite approachable, easy to read resources on our website about contributing partners. Especially perhaps my colleagues can post or I will post maybe myself in the chat a link to our sub website, which is called Becoming Contributing Partner on the IHI website. And over there we have a guide that we prepared, which I would recommend to have a look and read for everyone who's interested in applying to become a contributing partner. And over there you can find also some rules and procedures and also templates of our application letters. Another very important point that I would like to briefly mention is that contributing partners contribute in kind or financially, but the in-kind contribution of contributing partner needs to be also in line with the grant agreement, and that is in particular Article 6.1. So it needs to be actual cost. We've talked quite a lot about it on our previous webinar this week on Monday, which is called Rules and Procedures, and it's also available online. So if you're interested in that topic, I would recommend to listen to this webinar, which is available on our website. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carolina. I have a couple of questions regarding the webinar itself. So just to let you know that the pitching session is happening just after this info session. So we will just take a break, but just stay online and it will follow this question time. Next question, it's coming from Sylvia. So is it known when the call will be published?
We expect to have it published at the end of July.
Okay, and there is also
follow our website for that, yes.
Sorry. And also Sylvia is asking, can you give us an idea of how many partners are expected to compose the consortium?
So there is not a specific number that we expect to see in a consortium. What is important is that you have all the partners that bring the necessary expertise in the proposal and the necessary resources to realize your proposal. So it doesn't have to do with the number, whether many or not, but what they bring into the consortium. For addressing this particular topic, you need a diverse set of expertise, you need a cross-sectorial collaboration. So you need to have as many partners as you need to have the necessary resources and expertise.
Thank you. We have another question from Jetty. It's about the deadline of the proposals. So what is the expected deadline for submitting the proposals?
The call is expected to be launched end of July, and then the submission deadline will be mid-January. But this information is indicative. The final will be published in our website. So please follow that closely.
Thank you. We also have another question from Harald. Is the definition of a clinical trial the same as in Horizon Europe? For example, any study involving patient or patient's data and more narrow a phase 1 to 4 intervention? And can academic partners also provide in-kind contribution or only industry?
So with the clinical trials, this definition covers IHI as well, but I don't know why the question is coming from. Is that for the annex that you have to submit if there is a clinical study? Is that the question, the reason for this question? In any case, the definition, yes, it's the same for us as well.
And maybe for the second part of the question, Carolina can answer. So can academic partners also provide in-kind contribution or only industry?
Apologies, can you hear me now? I was trying to unmute myself. Okay, so in-kind contributions are provided by contributing partners, yes, and private members. So basically, if an academic institution wants to provide in-kind contributions, they need to become a contributing partner, or they need to affiliate to the private member. But as I said already about contributing partners, to become a contributing partner, there's also other requirements. There needs to be a strategic involvement with the call and topic and IHI as such as well. There is a webinar, all of this is explained about the contributions, in-kind contributions, the type of participants, very in detail in the rules and procedure webinar, which we had on Monday. It's almost 2 hours. So, and there was a lot of questions about that as well. So I would invite everyone who's interested to listen to that. And I think we also have a special webinar on the financial rules. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's either today or tomorrow, right? Sarah?
Tomorrow at 2. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Carolina. We have another question from Mario. How strongly should partners be distributed over Europe?
So again, there is no specific requirements of geographical distribution of partners. As I said, the important is to have a public-private partnership that has all the necessary expertise and resources to address the aims, the objectives of the specific topic.
Okay, and the following question is coming from Mark. For what it has been told, it looks like the focus is very much on data and digital. Is there also room for medical devices in this topic?
Certainly, because we don't see it as a separate goals to have integrated data and the devices. We are hoping, we're expecting to see the medical devices connected with AI-based systems and ensuring the interoperability of data between the different devices that are used in the stroke care pathway. So certainly this is a topic that addresses also medical devices.
Okay, we have another question from Zal. Can proposal have impact only on development of new stroke treatments at preclinical level without any clinical studies?
The aim of this topic is not to focus on development of new stroke treatments, but rather to use the currently existing effective treatments in a more efficient way to scale up their use. So it's not in particular the focus of this topic to develop new treatments for stroke.
Thank you very much, Clelia. In the meantime, just to let you some few minutes, to leave you for a few more minutes, what is it? To type in questions. Let me remind you that if you are still interested in other topics of Call 5, you are still on time to join the sessions that are happening tomorrow. So we, as our colleagues were kindly reminding you, we have a session tomorrow about the synthetic data generation in the morning, but the financial part of the proposal is happening at 2 p.m. Brussels time. So if you want to register, you just have to go to the platform and add this to your agenda, and you will be joining the webinar. Also, let me remind you that you can find all the project ideas that will, among which you will find also the one that are going to be pitched later in the marketplace, in the platform. So you just need to go to marketplace on the main menu tab, select project cooperation, then select the topic you're interested in, and then browse through the projects. So this is the best thing you can do to start now creating your consortium. So we strongly advise you to do so. And in the meantime, we have another question from Rick. So could you say a few words about the eligibility of Swiss participants? I think that this question is for Carolina.
Yes. I would strongly invite everyone to have a look at the webinar from Monday. We spent a lot of time explaining in that webinar that particularly Swiss participants are eligible to participate, but are not eligible to receive funding. And there was quite a lot of information about that. Yep, but basically this is the answer: eligible to participate, not eligible to receive funding. Obviously, there are some specific cases where they might be eligible to receive funding if they are considered essential for the project, for example. But as I said, this is a very, very good question and very important topic, which we answered in length on Monday.
Thank you very much, Carolina. And let me remind you to add some more information about this, that all the recordings of the previous sessions are published already on our website, on the IHI website. So you can find the recording and the presentation slides. So I advise Rick and anyone who is interested in that to go to the website and check the session, the recording of the session. And if we don't have further questions, I will first of all thank Clelia and and Carolina and our colleagues for their contribution, and everyone who attended this webinar. So we're gonna take a 5-minute break, and we're coming back with the pitching session. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the IHI Call Days. So without further ado, we're going to start with the pitching session. Today, we have 8 pitchers. So I will introduce you the first pitcher of today. We have Debra, Umlauft, Project Director at General Electric Healthcare, who will pitch about prevention of stroke through early detection of Afib. Debra, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. The title of my presentation is Prevention of Stroke Through Early Detection of Afib. Again, my name is Debra Umlauft, and I'm from GE Healthcare. Next slide, please. We have already heard the statistics of stroke in Europe, and the trajectory of the disease is striking, of course, if nothing changes. But what we're hoping to address is one of the risk factors that prevent Europeans from having stroke in the first place, which is atrial fibrillation. Atrial fibrillation causes 1 in 7 strokes and are 5 times more likely to result in a fatal stroke than any other etiology. 11 to 20% of patients who have Afib are underdiagnosed, and at many times, if these patients do present with stroke, they are found to actually have Afib etiology through the approximal stroke, post-stroke workups. So we believe that by addressing Afib preventatively, we can truly affect the stroke statistics in a positive way through connected preventative pathways. Next slide, please. Much of the stroke pathways that are being addressed, hopefully today, are related to when the patient actually experiences stroke and then what happens with the care that takes place afterwards. But what if we could actually prevent strokes from happening in the first place? Can we actually break these silos and bring necessary expertise and resources together through this prevention technique as well, through addressing the atrial fibrillation disease? Aim of this proposal is to help identify patients who are at risk for atrial fibrillation earlier, even before they have symptoms, if this is at all possible, so that they do not even ever experience stroke. If they are at high risk, what is the best way for an optimal connected care pathway through hubs and spokes to align with validated care pathways in current guidelines with potential to influence guideline updates with the intention of improving stroke outcomes? And these outcomes, as I'll go into further slides, will include clinical, financial, and operational. And we want to do this through prevention and care. Please. So we've identified current challenges today in health systems, and we've included the goals and opportunities to address and validate these clinical evidence. Some of the technical challenges that we have are disconnected hub and spoke care delivery networks. Systems are data-centric and not patient-centric. Generally, many times these care plans that are with Afib are generalized. With staff, there tends to be high turnover with suboptimally trained technologists in the field and their caregivers. And then the care delivery at tertiary centers many times are out of reach for rural citizens. And so through these opportunities, we feel that some of the opportunities that we can address is, can we connect these hubs and spokes, consolidate, organize, and standardize data in the EMR, hopefully with cloud-based solutions. Is there a way that we can actually make patient-centric care journeys that are specific and personalized for patients? We want to make sure that we can address the high turnover and suboptimally trained through easy-to-use point-of-care solutions, potentially use AI-enhanced diagnostic tools to help streamline the workflow optimization in the diagnostic sections. And then for care delivery, again, cloud-based, make this available so that we can help, especially in the rural networks, make care delivery more accessible for the rural citizens. Next slide. So the proposal for our goals, which I've already stated in the prior slide, is cloud-based AI-enhanced point-of-care solutions, easy to use. We want to have hub and spokes connected through cloud-based secured network platforms, be able to handle a patient-centric image and data consolidation with standardization for sharing amongst caregivers. We propose in the solution to work through the challenge of networks so that they can support patient-friendly engagement tools for compliance and transparency in their own care, make them part of their own care journey, and then also analytics and dashboards to help identify, track, and trend populations to ensure healthcare equity. Next slide. Debilitating strokes are very costly to health systems. We believe and hope to prove that through optimization opportunities, we can positively impact economics for health systems, society at large, and for consortium partners as well. Our expected duration of this project, we're still working on gathering our resources together. So this is complete estimation, but we estimate this to take 5 years. And again, the budget is not yet confirmed, but we are hoping to estimate that it's between 15 to 20 million euro. Next slide, please. The partners that we have are cardiology solutions at GE Healthcare, modality groups at GE Healthcare, and also our digital health group that's in GE Healthcare. Some partners that we have started to work with through consortium ideation is Idaven for a small company. We have not yet secured our pharma company, but we wish to involve pharma with this consortium group. And we've not yet secured our clinical research partners, although we have started to have some discussions around this, but we're looking for research partners that will have connections through cardiology, electrophysiology, emergency stroke triage, and primary care. And we think that we've already have the last bullet point covered, which is project management. So we do not at this point think that we need to have this assistance any longer, but we think that we have this handled. So thank you very much. That is the pitch for the project of early detection through atrial fibrillation.
Thank you very much, Debra. The second picture of today is Maria Fernanda Scoz Luz, Healthcare and Life Science Business Development at DQ Technologies. And she will pitch about compliant and safe data collaboration for comprehensive stroke management. Maria Fernanda, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, perfect. Thanks.
Perfect. So yeah, I'm here on behalf of Decentriq to present how we can contribute as a partner if you're a consortium coordinator seeking for new ones. And you can find more information on our marketplace opportunity, which is linked to the presentation, but also just directly contacting me on the matchmaking platform. So if we could go to the next slide, please. So yes, we know that stroke has multiple risk factors, and stroke patients follow this non-linear journey, crossing multiple care points. However, this data is not very well integrated, and we need that to be the case if we want to perform this comprehensive research like the call talks about. However, we cannot compromise on security and privacy of the patient, and at the same time, making this data available needs to be efficient and scalable. So the call talks about integrating data in order to provide personalized care, but we as Decentriq believe that the privacy preserving and secure aspect also needs to be at the core of this project. So if we could go to the next slide, please. So these are some of the main activities of the standard call document, but we as a partner are proposing, and what we would like to contribute with are the implementation of confidential data clean rooms to enable this sustainable, privacy preserving, and secure way of collaborating around data for the multiple consortium partners and care sites without the need to having to trust each other with data sets, having to share any data set, and maintaining full control over every analysis that's performed. So I'll talk a little bit more about what Decentriq can offer as a consortium partner in the next slide. So we are a cloud-based software as a service platform, and we're also a work package leader for the technical infrastructure in another IHI consortium. We're dealing with a very similar topic there, and the setting is in the cardiology field, but the technical infrastructure is essentially the same. And what we offer is this core privacy preserving, GDPR compliant, flexible data collaboration platform where the partners can integrate their data sets and work on it from very basic descriptive statistics to highly complex AI machine learning models. And we do this while the partners never having to share their data set with the others. They retain approval controls to, for example, avoid rogue researchers from extracting what they're not allowed to do, and also while keeping an audit record of everything that was done on their data set at all times. And finally, we also see that there is a lot of time, effort, resources going into ensuring that this data infrastructure for the consortium is available and that the project data sets are in a fair way, that they integrate with the EHDS, for example. And our approach was very highly rated by the IHI office for a previous call. And with our platform and previous experience, we do not need to start from scratch, so we can ensure that the infrastructure is also sustainable after the project lifetime runs out. And some other points we can help you with are, for example, talking to cohort owners, onboarding them, their data sets, working on a plan for data capture, storage, collaboration. And of course, health data and regulations go hand in hand, which is also why we're very engaged in the regulatory aspect with the EHDS as well. So next slide, please. What we're looking for, we as Decentriq are open to joining the consortiums or joining forces with other partners We are not looking to be a coordinator. So if you're looking for a partner that is providing interoperability, better access to data sustainably and safely, we would love to join forces. So thank you for your time, and please find me in the matchmaking platform so we can further talk about this.
Thank you very much, Maria. The next picture is Richard Cimler, Head of Research Center from the University of Hradec, Kralove, and he will be pitching about remote monitoring of vital functions focused on stroke, prediction, detection, and treatment. Please, Richard, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Do you hear me well?
Yes.
Super. So, hello again. I'm Richard Cimler from University of Hradec, Kralove, Czech Republic. I'm from Faculty of Science, Center of Advanced Technology, where we are focusing on remote monitoring of persons and their vital functions. Next slide, please. Thank you very much. We would like to challenge the difficulty monitoring of people at risk of stroke, mostly at home, but it can be also in senior centers, maybe in hospitals. What we are doing is remote monitoring of vital functions by these blue pads, which you can see on the picture, which you put under mattress. We are using a special methods of ballistocardiography for monitoring of heart activity. The results are comparable with ECG, and we would like to focus on unobtrusive monitoring of persons with a high risk of stroke. We are able also get the data from other devices. In many research, we are using different wearable devices, and we are looking on the person's circadian rhythm and what they are doing and how they are active. So these methods can be used also in monitoring of reconvalescence of the patients and its rehabilitations. What is interesting that by these blue pads, the patient doesn't need to wear anything on his body, and it can be remotely monitored only by lying in the bed. We have special methods for monitoring of the micro vibrations, so the person is not bothered by any other device. Next slide, please. We are focusing on the circadian rhythms. We are looking what are person doing during the day by wearables, and when they are in the bed, we are doing detailed analysis of the heart rate variability, and breath rate, for example, and we are looking on the details of the mechanics of the heart. In the project, we would like to comparison our method BCG and ECG data with the focus on evaluation of Q2 intervals, which are very related to the stroke occurrence. In our projects, we are using various AI methods for evaluation of human vital functions, mostly detection of arrhythmias, breathing problems, and other problems with heart or lungs. In this project, we would like to use our methods for the evaluation of the risk of the stroke for patients, mostly at home, but it can be also used in senior centers or in the hospitals. What is interesting is to follow also the circadian rhythms of patients, because any problem with as a mental or physical can be seen before its occurrence also by the change of behavior of the persons. Next slide, please. So what we are offering is our special hardware solution for unobtrusive data collection and evaluation. These are the sensor pads which can be used under a mattress for measuring HRV, respiration rate, microvibrations, pulse rate velocity, AB index, tremor, and other things which can be seen from the microvibrations of human body. We have also various software tools for remote vital sign monitoring and ML interactions. We can connect to the wearable devices, for example, such as Fitbit and so on, and we can nearly in the real time evaluate what the persons are doing and sending questionnaires based on the current activity and doing reports for researchers or doctors. Currently, we have more than 3,000 people monitored by wearable devices and approximately 500 people monitored by the blue pads for microvibration monitoring. We have special algorithms for the evaluation of these microvibrations by ballistocardiographic methods. We can also offer infrastructure for neural networks, long-term training, and HPC cluster. And also, we are able to bring SME to the project partner because we have also startups which are focused on these technologies. Next, please. And what we are looking mostly for the hospitals. We are looking for research institute cooperation. care providers, industry partners. We would like to be partner in the project. We are not going to lead it, but if you are interested in the methods for this remote monitoring, unobtrusive monitoring, and usage of AI methods for evaluation of vital functions, it will be great to contact with us and we can try to figure out the project. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Richard. Next picture is Buse Bilgin from Turkcell Technology. She's a 5G, 6G R&D engineer, and she will pitch about communication infrastructure for early stroke detection and efficient treatment. Buse, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me right?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Hi, all. I'm Buse from Turkcell, the next generation R&D lab, and today I'm going to present one of our research focus, the communication infrastructure for early stroke detection and efficient treatment. Next slide, please. As you all know, probably better than me, that the high blood pressure is really important for stroke, and the previous studies have shown that almost 50% of the strokes is related with the high blood pressure. Therefore, the regular monitoring of blood pressure and heart rhythm is really important for early stroke diagnosis and the follow-up of post-stroke patients. And in addition to monitoring and collecting the data, it's really important to analyze it and share it with the emergency services as quickly as possible. And with analyzing the data, we can pave the way to create a personalized the monitoring platform for strokes. It's clear that we need a trustworthy, seamless, and fast end-to-end connection for remote patient monitoring and disease diagnosis. And as Turkcell, we can provide the consortium this infrastructure. Next slide, please. Yes, we are the fourth largest mobile network operator in Europe, and our main job is providing a secure, fast, and seamless mobile communication service to the customer in 4 different countries by establishing an end-to-end communication infrastructure with the extensive coverage and R&D experience on not just the verticals like Industry 4.0, the CCAM and smart cities, but also in the healthcare applications. And our with the experience, our previous the healthcare application, like you see in the screen, we can connect the patient to the hospital, clinicians, and emergency services, and create a sharing platform, a secure sharing platform suitable for healthcare application. And we can enable the creation of a platform for stroke management and monitoring. Next slide, please. We have lots of R&D experience in providing this secure communication infrastructure and end-to-end data sharing platform. But besides that, we have also experience as a technological company on the data processing and developing predictive models, especially on the healthcare applications. And thanks to the previous 9 Horizon 2020 Europe projects that we have involved, we gained lots of experience in developing infrastructure in the international consortia, and we can perform a testbed for large-scale tests of the developed technologies on our network. Next slide, please. We, for under this IHI call, we want to support the existing consortia by providing our communication infrastructure as a testbed for, especially for the high-tech sensors targeted for mass-scale testing or remote follow-up of the patients. And as an MNO, we are really interested in the healthcare applications, and we're more than happy to take a part of the consortium. We are not looking for the leader role, but we're more than happy to be involved in this kind of projects. And please feel free to contact me any platform that you want. And thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Buse. Next speaker is Thierry Fumeaux, CEO of Acthera Therapeutics, and he will talk about hard-shelled liposomes, improved thrombolytic therapy for acute ischemic stroke. Thierry, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. It's my pleasure to present Acthera and our technological platform, the hard-shell liposomes, which allow a faster diagnosis and more efficient therapy of acute stroke. Next, please. There remain some significant challenges in the acute management of stroke, as less than 20% of patients are treated with reperfusion. And the success of reperfusion is less than 20%. Moreover, the bleeding risk, particularly of symptomatic cerebral hemorrhages, is around 3 to 5% in real life. And the improvement of reperfusion therapy is a central and mandatory component of the global management of stroke. Next. This issue is the result of the untargeted delivery of the clot-lysing drug, which is currently done, and leads to inefficiency. By bringing the drug at the site of the disease, where the occlusion is, we can improve the efficacy and the safety of the treatment. Next slide. Our hard-shell liposomes are unique in the sense that they are mechanosensitive. They open when exposed to the massive increase in the physical forces called shear stress that are generated in the thrombotic obstruction of a blood vessel. By encapsulating a clot-lysing drug and bring it precisely at the site of the disease, we can increase both the safety and efficacy. And we can also develop a diagnostic application in which a marker, encapsulated marker, would be released and would allow an early detection of the obstruction. Next slide. At Acthera, our ambition is to bring more efficient, meaning more efficacious and safer drugs to the majority of patients with acute ischemic stroke by bringing more efficacy, meaning more reperfusion and less consequences of the stroke, and also improve safety, meaning less contraindication and less complication. And this will extend the therapeutic time window, reduce the contraindication, and globally increase the number of patients who will benefit from the therapy. Next slide. Our main activities are focused around the basic research that we do, the manufacturing process, upscaling the production of our hard-shell liposomes, and also exploring efficacy and safety by the use of animal models. Next slide. We bring a compact team of experts and experienced SAB members, and also some external partners, including partners in Europe. Although we are not eligible to funding, we are eligible to participate in the consortium, and we will bring our contribution to all our operational activities. Next slide. What we are looking for is to build a consortium with partners for the co-development, basic co-development on API, active thrombolytic drug, manufacturing processes, or companion technologies to use as mechanical trigger. And also in research institutes specialized in the study of shear stress, in the development of enhanced thrombolytic drugs, or in the development and use of stroke animal models. Next slide. So if you think that we could be working within your consortium in order to improve the prognosis of patients with acute stroke, don't hesitate to contact us. Together we could help millions of stroke patients in need of better therapies. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Thierry. The next speaker is Robert Hofsing, PPP Manager at Philips, and he will pitch about DISCO, Data-Driven Integrated Solutions for Stroke Care Pathway Optimization. Robert, the floor is yours.
Thank you for the introduction. Can you go to the next slide, please? Indeed. So my name is Robert Hofsing from Philips Image Guided Therapy, and happy to share a few minutes of your time and tell you about our view on the stroke care pathway optimization. Next slide. So indeed, the rationale for this particular call will likely already be obvious to all of you. What we see is indeed a stroke prevalence of 35 million cases per year. It is also recognized as the leading cause for disability worldwide, and it is the second leading cause of death. So for sure, a extremely important topic to dive into. Next slide. What we see in particular as the main challenges, and you could say as in three views. The first one is of course to get the stroke patient treated as quickly as possible. Time is brain, as they say, and that is literally the case. So that's the primary challenge that needs to be addressed. The second one is about the physicians. Within the stroke care settings, they are under extreme pressure to make optimal treatment decisions. So we need to provide these physicians with the available and relevant information in an optimal way. And as a whole, the whole care teams lose currently valuable time due to the gaps in the communication, information sharing, the access to data, and also the stroke expertise that is available to treat patients. So time is lost there, and that's exactly that we want to address to speed up the whole care pathway process. So in short, the objective for this project idea would be to develop solutions to make the right decisions faster, to treat more patients, to do it also more effectively, and in the end also improve the patient outcome. Next slide. So how does that look like? And this is a visual on our vision on the stroke care continuum, where we aim to address in the various stages in the care continuum, starting with the prevention and the early diagnosis and the emergency care, moving toward the diagnosis, treatment, and post-acute care, and in the end, in the home care situation. And in all these stages, we do have particular solutions available, ranging from monitoring devices to tailor stroke and acute care solutions. We as image-guided therapy have a strong position within the diagnosis and treatment stage. So with the imaging equipment to provide high-quality images for the physician to treat the patient, and also assist them in the treatment planning, and also speed up this process and gain significant time in these stages. And after treatment, of course, it's essential to also keep monitoring the patient, for instance, to prevent or timely intervene for a secondary stroke. So as said, several solutions available, but also recognize that several innovations are still needed. And the most essential part is to connect the data that's being collected in all these stages better to each other, such that the data that is collected in one stage can be utilized to optimize the process in the next stage in this care continuum. So that would be the overall view on this stroke care continuum. Next slide. So what then do we see as the main activities in a project to address the stroke care pathway? Well, in the end, it is about the development of data-driven solutions. As I said, in each of the stages, data is being collected. So data-driven solutions to improve the overall patient journey. So covering all the phases from emergency to diagnosis, treatment, and post-acute care, connecting these stages. So several innovation directions we foresee. They range from the area of smart triaging, so adding intelligence to the interpretation of data that's being collected there. Think of AI-enabled advanced imaging techniques to improve the image quality, but also the automatic interpretation of stroke information that's being collected. It can also include modeling to improve the prediction of treatment outcomes. of course, as I said, physicians need to be assisted with intuitive visualization techniques to help them interpret the data in a better way, monitoring tools, and of course also the pharmaceutical interventions that come into play during the treatment stages. So in short, it is about connecting technology, the information that's being collected, and the people in this full stroke care pathway. Next slide, please. So yeah, partners that would need to work on this. We as Philips bring in core expertise in the imaging, diagnosis, and treatment stages, but as well devices and solutions in the area of, for instance, monitoring the patients. We have started conversations with clinical research and technology partners to investigate which partnerships can be leveraged here. And we especially also have particular interest in learning about partners with an expertise in the drug development or drug treatment in these stages. So happy to learn also more about that part of the stroke care pathway. Thank you for your attention at this point, and happy to, of course, engage in any discussions afterwards.
Thank you very much, Robert. The next picture is Professor Harald Schmidt from Maastricht University Pharmacology and Personalized Medicine Research Institute, who will pitch about SAVEBRAIN Plus. Professor Harald Schmidt, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Can I have the first slide? Yeah, let me introduce one slide. Oh, that's okay. We can stay there. SAVEBRAIN Plus, it's a mixture of academic and private participants working in AI or less buzzwordish federated machine learning in drug repurposing, which speeds up the whole translational process, mechanism-based diagnostic, and telemedicine workflow. And the four challenges that we address are, in the moment, there is no neuroprotective therapy in stroke. There are about 1,000 failed therapies, but none that works. And the only thing we have is the, as you heard before, the dissolution of a blood clot or the mechanic removal. And we bring into this proposal phase 2A drug repurposing proof of concept that works. Another problem often is that the patients are detected with a stroke, but the time of onset is often unknown, which limits especially these thrombolytic interventions. So we provide a set of plasma biomarkers with which one can indicate at any patient what has been the time of onset of the stroke. Another issue is, of course, secondary prevention after a stroke, which is imprecise and often ineffective. And ideally, we would genetically stratify patients. If they don't want that, we could do it with biomarkers for tailored secondary prevention. And another general problem in Europe we have is that, of course, a stroke patient should be treated in a dedicated stroke unit or stroke center. However, that's impossible to achieve for rural areas and so forth. So we provide tele-infrastructure for acute care and follow-up that interacts with those stroke units and provides world-class therapy and diagnostics even for remote areas. Next slide, please. So the four main activities with which we do this is to conduct a phase 2B multi-center, multinational proof of concept drug repurposing trial for the first-in-class mechanism-based neuroprotection in stroke. So we actually close the blood-brain barrier and we save neurons. Then the second is we identify modified plasma proteins indicating different post-stroke phases and convert this into a point of care test format, so a lateral flow test, which will then also work in remote areas. And we will employ genetic and electronic health record features to stratify patients for the secondary stroke risks and their prevention. And we expand our current imaging AI-based stroke telemedicine to remote blood-based diagnostics and therapy. So we have the imaging component is already part of that, but as I said, that's not enough. Next slide, please. So to explain the entire PER chart and workflow is the core innovation is that we have the first curative treatment because we identified why the brain is, of all organs in our body, the most sensitive to hypoxia. We have identified the mechanism that causes the breakup of the blood-brain barrier, what causes the neurotoxicity, and that's this pinkish pathway, which is then, or it's a signaling network, which we target at different points. It's not to be confused with classical combination therapies also that target mechanistically unrelated targets. So with this red therapy, we actually have a causal curative therapy. Of course, that does not mean that one does not do the thrombolysis or the thrombectomy. So for this, we provide time point markers. And all of this is integrated on the left into a telemedicine that begins with the lateral flow pre-tests, but also the imaging eye consultant. And it then, after the acute and subacute treatment, leads into an AI for secondary prevention and even long-term follow-up with the suitable partners. Next slide, please. Everything is based on two projects from the European Research Council, an advanced grant and the proof of concept grant in large animals called SAVEBRAIN. That's why I called it SAVEBRAIN Plus, because we're definitely now going into humans. And two Horizon projects that I'm currently coordinating, Repo Trial and Repo Stroke 1 and Repo Stroke 2A, which provided the preclinical network pharmacology validation, patents, licenses, and the initial experimental diagnostics. And the entire drug repurposing technology comes from a platform called Repo4U that I'm also coordinating, then, which spans everything from bioinformatics, clinical pharmacology, trial design, FTO, CMC, patenting, and so forth. Then, of course, finding a center for high-quality clinical investigator-initiated trials is a challenge, but we found such a fantastic center also with the workflow established in the brain that in Spain that has also an international network for our multi-center, multinational phase 2B. We are in close contact since several months with regulators who are now looking for very innovative approaches, especially in those unmet medical need areas. For instance, conditional approval, skipping phase 3s. We have advanced medical MI machine learning technology for the secondary risk prevention, as I said, federated machine learning. And finally, next slide, we're looking Next slide. Yeah. We're looking for, of course, commercial industry partners for all of that. Two of the partners that I listened to are very interesting for us already. And of course, we need to increase the TLR levels, especially of our diagnostics. That's not our core business. And of course, we will recruit in the academic partners outside of Spain with the expertise in IITs to join the multi-center, multinational phase 2B efficacy trial. That's it from SAVEBRAIN Plus.
Thank you very much. So the last speaker for today is Mark Serra, Chief Business Development Officer at Robopedics, and he will pitch about rehab after stroke, Robopedics. So Mark, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody, and I'm happy to be here with you today. As we've been seeing until now, a lot of investment and research is going to be very important to the prevention of the stroke. Nevertheless, when that happens, there's still a lot of things to be done. At Robopedics, we design and create, we are a startup, by the way, Spanish startup, that we design and create a orthotic orthosis, robotic orthosis to help walk again the people that have been left in a wheelchair due to the stroke. So now the question here is, the longer you try to walk after the stroke, okay, the longer it will take to walk again. So there's two options. Either you can be able to rehab and walk again, or you will end up being in a wheelchair forever. So our objective is to use this robotic orthosis to help walk again since the very first day. So that's this device. It's a home device, and the idea is that we also use it in hospitals to help recover faster. So there's two options. So as I said, the examples of the results can be that either more patients will be able to walk again with the current standard because they will take a long time to walk. They might not recover that possibility, or they will walk earlier. So those who can walk again anyway, they can walk again earlier because the perception of the brain reacts faster if as soon as you wake up you have your a robotic orthosis that helps you stand up and walk again. So that's clearly, we're talking here about a very deep and large social impact to everybody. So next, please. What are we looking for? So we wanted to test. We're looking for a research centers that can help us test on patients that time they take to walk again with and without the robotic orthosis. So and at the same time also we wanna see how that affects the brain. The thing here is that we would love to have several areas in Europe, different facilities where there's a research centers that can use our devices and then evaluate the time their patients take to walk again compared to those patients that do not have the device on. And at the same time, that might seem very simple, but there's a lot of different illnesses that are collateral of a stroke, of hemiplegia, let's say by stroke, which might be related to cardiovascular or digestive or bones or musculoskeleton. And this also requires a lot of studies. And we would love to be able to do those studies together with some other participants in a consortium. Next, please. What are our expertise and resources? I mean, we are, as I was saying, we are a very young startup that was incorporated just a couple of years ago, but we're being we are partnering already with several hospitals in Spain, with the doctors that you see on the slide, and we are partnering with a also engineering company, which they're very good at their aerospace company, to make sure that the device that we're producing really is light and efficient. And that's what we can. I mean, that's what we can offer to all of you. Although I'm not sure what that makes a lot of sense. Next, please. And as I was saying at the beginning, what we are looking for is a partner that help us develop the whole trials of the whole studies that support that a quick quick recovery study, the big recovery test. So that's the institutes researching stroke rehabilitation and everything that is related to also with the robotic batteries. That also will be very helpful to make sure that we, as I was saying, we end up producing a very efficient robotic orthesis. So that is it for Robopedics today. I'll be more than happy to connect to all of you afterwards, whether we do consumption or not. I mean, congratulations to everybody, because I do think that that's discussing about the second reason for death and the third major cause of disease in the world really deserves a lot of working around. So again, thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Mark. So we are arriving at the end of this webinar, and I would like to thank all the teachers that today presented their project ideas. Thank you very much for your contribution. And I would like to remember to all the other attendees that you can find those ideas in this platform in the marketplace. So please reach out to these teachers as well as to any other that created their marketplace on the platform. And also let me remind you that the recording and the presentation slide will be available on the website. And having said that, I wish you a pleasant rest of the day. Goodbye.